My hand grips the crumpled paper so tightly my knuckles turn white. I can hear the edges crackling, feel the soft fibers tearing under the pressure. Next to me on the coffee table, a photograph curls, edges burned and blackened. The smoke is still rising in thin, twisting lines. My eyes are locked on that last image of us, her arms around my waist, my smile crooked but genuine, just as the flames erased it all. Her face disintegrated first, leaving only my half-smiling ghost until that, too, went to ash. I can't catch my breath. Short, sharp gasps. The house is too quiet. Every step I take echoes off walls that feel both familiar and hostile. My hand won't unclench. It hurts. The paper in my fist is stained with sweat, the words on it bleeding into a blur. Something about a new cleaning service, a phone number scribbled. This is enough. Enough to suspect. Enough to confirm. Enough to set my mind on fire, the same way that photograph died in flame. For a few seconds, I'm back there, flashes. I'm standing outside the bathroom, inhaling that chemical smell so out of place. The sickly sweet tang of detergent that isn't ours. The hamper half empty when it should have been full. My mouth went dry, and everything tilted sideways. My vision tunneled. I saw the note on the calendar. Drop off laundry at cleaners. We never did that. We always had a lazy helper who came on Thursdays, except apparently, he just quit. And she found a new one in a day. A new man to handle our laundry. My heart hammered. That's when I understood something was very wrong. But that was Monday, 2 days ago. Now, I'm standing in the living room, holding a different piece of paper. Actually, it's the note from the lab with the DNA test results sealed inside an envelope. The lab's letter is crisp, official. I haven't opened it. I don't need to. The test was from the pillowcase in our bedroom. I'd slipped it off while she was out buying groceries. A single hair was all I needed, or maybe there were more. I don't know. I just stuffed it in a plastic bag, trembling with the sensation that life as I knew it was already over. A week has passed since I mailed that sample. The results came today. Inside that sealed envelope is the final blow. But the truth is, I already know. My mind replays every clue. I see her posture when I asked about the new helper. She froze. The way her eyes darted, the stutter in her response. It was all so obvious. I remember smiling at her as we sat for dinner, acting like nothing was wrong. My voice calm, my questions polite. And she just cracked. She tried to cover it up with a laugh, with that forced tone she uses when she's cornered. Still, I didn't yell. I cracked a joke about forgetting his name. She swallowed hard and said, "Jim. His name is Jim." She hadn't meant to say it, I think. It just slipped. My fork scraped my plate as I nodded, pretending I didn't catch that note of panic in her voice. I exhale, finally letting the torn slip of paper fall to the floor. The hush of the house surrounds me, pressing in. There was a time this home felt warm and alive. The place where we raised our son, spent so many late nights talking about the future. Now every piece of furniture looks staged, false, like I'm standing in a department store display. The sofa we chose together seems like a dull prop. The pictures on the walls show smiles I no longer trust. Even the air feels stale, as if it's holding its breath along with me. I can't stop thinking about Friday, about how I left to visit our son. He's living a few hours north, needed help building a shelf in his first apartment. We drank cheap beer, hammered boards together, and talked about football, avoiding, with careful skill, any mention of relationships or heartbreak. He has no idea what's going on at home. Or maybe he does, quietly. That day, I'd felt grateful for the break from routine, from the tension in my own head. On Monday, I returned to a house that smelled different, that felt wrong. One weekend, that's all it took for everything to unravel in my mind. Breathe, I tell myself. Breathe. A single beep from the kitchen clock reminds me of the time. She'll be home soon. Tonight, I planned the perfect evening. Her favorite meal, candles, gentle music. This was supposed to be an anniversary-like moment, even though our actual anniversary is months away. I wanted to see if she'd squirm under the weight of kindness. I wanted to pour her wine, watch her face as the guilt gnawed at her. But in the process of setting the table, I realized the plan wasn't just about me cornering her. It was about me stalling, about me not wanting to shatter my own illusions too fast. If I create this bubble of artificial romance, maybe I can pretend for a few hours that nothing's changed. But it has. That's the sad, lonely truth. And as I stare down at the ashes of our photo, I wonder if I can ever look at her the same again. I remember a time, years ago, when she lit up at the sight of me. We were younger, full of hope. I built her a bookcase in our first apartment, just like I built one for our son now. She kissed me afterward, praising my handiness, telling me how safe and loved she felt. We had a future that seemed unbreakable, but no future is set in stone. I close my eyes, trying to blot out the memories, but they burn brighter than the photograph's flame. There's a roaring in my ears, a well of anger I'm not sure I can contain. So far, I've held it in. Silence, that's my weapon, and it's also my burden. My father used to say, shouting never changes minds. Maybe he was right, but sometimes I wonder if screaming might just relieve the pressure inside my chest. Yet here I am, calm on the surface, a goddamn statue with a molten core. The front door opens, she's home. I watch her reflection in the hallway mirror before I turn. She sets her purse down carefully, looks at the floor, and then meets my eyes. There's a flicker of uncertainty. She forces a smile. "Hi," she says. Her voice trembles. She sees the table set for dinner, candles flickering, silverware neatly laid out, the faint aroma of her favorite pasta sauce simmering on the stove. "You made dinner?" "Yes," I say, my tone smooth, almost gentle. "I thought it might be a nice evening for both of us." She nods but doesn't move. I see her eyes dart to the coffee table where blackened scraps of the photo remain. She opens her mouth as if to speak, then closes it again. Her hand moves to her bracelet, the gold one I gave her so many years ago. She fidgets with it, turning it around her wrist. Silence. The thick, heavy silence. I feel the ache in my throat, the dryness in my mouth, but I keep my voice steady. "Everything okay?" I ask. She forces another smile, but tears gather in the corners of her eyes. "I'm fine. Just let me change, and I'll join you." She disappears into the bedroom, and I notice how quickly she shuts the door behind her. My mind conjures the image of her texting someone. Maybe him. Maybe she's sending a frantic message that says, "He knows. He's making dinner." I'm scared. My stomach twists. I grip the back of the chair to steady myself. The squeak of the wood under my fingers is the only sound besides the slow ticking of the wall clock. Minutes later, she reemerges, wearing a different blouse, her hair brushed. She sits at the table. We eat mostly in silence. I watch her push the pasta around on her plate. She's trying so hard to pretend. Her eyes flick up now and then, searching my face for clues about what I know, or don't know. I swallow a mouthful of food, thinking about how I used to love her cooking, love the way we bantered over dinner, planning vacations, or discussing renovations. Now the conversation is forced. I ask her how her day went. She says, "Oh, it was fine. Busy." Her voice cracks a little, and she swallows as if she's about to cry. But she doesn't. We finish eating. I clear the plates. Usually, she insists on cleaning up, but I wave her away. "I'll handle it," I say. "You relax." She sits with her hands folded in her lap, staring at a candle flame as if it's mesmerizing. When I return, I pour her a glass of wine. She takes it, thanks me softly, sips without meeting my gaze. For a moment, I just watch her. She has the same face I've known for over 20 years. Yet it's different now. Or maybe I'm different. The man I was on Friday, leaving to see our son, is not the same man sitting here. She sets the wine down. "Dan, She pauses, voice quivering. I feel like something's off. Did something happen at work? I almost laugh. Work? God, she's reaching for any explanation that doesn't involve her betrayal. I keep my expression neutral. Work's the same. How'd your day? Anything new with the cleaning service? Her eyes widen for a second, just a flicker. Oh, not really. Just the usual. Her cheeks flush pink. She taps her nails on the glass. I wait. I want her to say his name. Jim. But she doesn't. Instead, she picks up the glass again, takes another sip. I can see she's mustering courage to speak. When she finally does, her voice is shaky. Dan, I'm sorry if I haven't been the same lately. I know I've been distant. Work's been stressful, and I've had a lot on my mind. Stressful? I reply, my voice low. Sure. I can understand that. She draws in a shaky breath, sets the glass down again. Then she forces a smile, a tremulous thing. Thank you for dinner. It's wonderful, really. I appreciate you doing this. My throat feels like it's coated in sandpaper. I watch her stand, walk to the sink, and set her plate inside. Her posture is stiff, and there's a slight tremor in her shoulders. She's close to breaking. And yet, I don't break. I remain calm, because I've come too far to start screaming now. I glance at the envelope on the counter, the one from the lab. Still sealed. Something inside me flares with a twisted sense of triumph. I've known for days, but this is my confirmation. I hate that I stooped so low as to get a test, but I had to. I had to know, beyond any doubt, that the man who was in my bed, on my pillow, left behind traces of himself. It makes me sick to imagine her with him, but the alternative was living in uncertainty. I remember how I found out. Glimpses, half dream, half nightmare. It's late Saturday, apparently. She's in bed, and someone else is with her. The house is dark except for the warm lamplight in the bedroom. A piece of clothing is draped over the chair. Boxers, or maybe they're briefs, definitely not mine. On the nightstand, a half-empty glass of water, 2 lip prints. Hers and his. Their hushed laughter, soft murmurs, a rustle of sheets. I'm not actually seeing it happen, but I feel it, sense it in every detail that was left behind. The new smell, the rearranged pillows, the flush on her cheeks that wouldn't fade by Monday morning. The shift in the atmosphere of this house, like a stranger's presence, lingers in every corner. I close my eyes and swallow the anger. I told myself I would keep it together. I would handle it like a man who's done being naive. So I set about cooking her favorite meal. I invited her to dance. I spoke kindly, even joked. I poured not just wine but time. Buying hours, letting them swirl down the drain, letting her think I was clueless or too soft to confront her. Because I wanted to watch her unravel. I wanted to watch the guilt break her from the inside. Now, it's almost time for the final act. She's leaning against the kitchen counter, arms folded, her expression uncertain. I walk up beside her, gently rest my hand on the envelope. This came in the mail today, I say quietly. Her eyes flick to it. She tenses. What is it? I raise an eyebrow. Oh, just some tests. Nothing important. She nods, pretending not to care. Then I see her chest rising and falling faster, each breath trembling. I step back, retrieving 2 wine glasses. I hand one to her, keep one for myself. Let's go to the living room, I suggest, my tone neutral. We move to the living room, and I dim the lights. Outside, the sun has set. The last of the day's glow seeps through the curtains, painting the room in muted shadows. She sits on the couch, her posture rigid. I sit in the armchair across from her, the envelope balanced on my knee. I take a sip of wine, exhale. The anticipation is like a storm cloud, heavy in the air. She breaks first. Dan, please. Talk to me. I can feel that something's wrong. I set my wine down carefully. The glass clinks against the side table. You're right. I say. My voice wavers for a second. I gather myself. Something's very wrong. She starts to cry, soft sobs that catch in her throat. She tries to speak, but words fail. I watch her. That part of me that once would have jumped to comfort her stays perfectly still. I think about the memory of her in that bed with him, the possibility that she called him by a nickname, that she moaned for him. My stomach churns. I dig my nails into my palm, focusing on the sting to keep me composed. She sniffles, wiping her eyes. I'm sorry, she whispers. I don't know what I've done to make you look at me like this. I want things to go back to normal. Normal. That single word ignites my fury. My voice remains steady, but I can feel it vibrating in my chest. Normal. Sure. Let's talk about normal. Friday, I left for our son's place. Monday, I came home, and the house smelled different. You wrote a note about a new dry cleaning service, even though we never do that. You replaced the old helper overnight, supposedly because he quit. Then you bring someone else in, someone you hired in record time. So you say. She flinches, like each sentence is a slap. It's just laundry, she pleads. Why are you so? Stop. I raise a hand. My voice is calm but final. I already know, Becky. I know everything. Her face contorts. She tries to speak, but only a hoarse breath escapes. Tears stream down her cheeks, and she looks at me like I've just reached into her chest and ripped something vital out. She sobs, shoulders shaking. The sound cracks through my silence, but I don't move from the armchair. 1,000 questions swirl in my head. Why? When did it start? Is he better than me? Do you love him? But they all feel pointless. Instead, I focus on the raw sensation in my throat, the dryness on my tongue, the knot in my gut. The calm voice that emerges from me sounds alien. How long? I ask. She chokes back a sob. A month. Maybe a little more. Her voice is almost a whisper, strangled by tears. It just happened. I didn't plan it. He was so attentive, and I felt like you were so far away. Far away. That's the phrase. As though it's my fault for not being more present. I want to snarl, to rage, but all I manage is a short exhale. You felt alone. I echo. So that gave you the right. She shakes her head, covers her face with her hands. Her sobs fill the room. I'm sorry, she keeps saying. Dan, I'm so sorry. I stand abruptly, the chair creaking beneath me. She flinches at the sudden movement, eyes following me as I cross to the fireplace. I take the envelope in my hand, flick my thumb over the sealed flap. You see this? I ask quietly. She looks at it, then nods, confusion and dread flickering over her tear-streaked face. It's a DNA test result. Pillowcase from our bed. I sent it off just to confirm what I already suspected. I pause, eyes locked on her. So, do I need to open it? Or did you already confess enough? She trembles. Oh God, she moans. Her tears flow again. She slides off the couch and kneels on the carpet, looking up at me as if I'm judge, jury, and executioner. I'm so sorry. It was a mistake. I swear I was going to end it. Please, Dan. Please believe me. I let her sob. My heart is pounding so hard I can hear the rush of blood in my ears. But my face remains impassive. A single tear threatens to slip from my eye. But I blink it back. I can't break now. Not after all this. So I slip the envelope into the pocket of my shirt and walk toward the hallway, ignoring her trembling figure. My footsteps echo. I can't stand the sight of her, kneeling there. I pass through the corridor, each picture on the wall mocking me with memories of a life that once was. Our wedding photo. She's radiant in white. I'm handsome in a suit, younger by decades in spirit if not in actual years. A photo of our son's high school graduation. Another from a family road trip. The frames might as well be photos of strangers. I round the corner into the bathroom, flick on the light. That smell of a foreign detergent no longer lingers, but I remember it too vividly. I place my hands on the sink, stare into the mirror. My reflection looks hollow, eyes sunken. I hardly recognize the man I see. "Who the hell are you now?" I whisper. My voice cracks. I want to punch the mirror, watch the glass fracture. But I don't. I just stand there, breathing in and out, ears ringing. She's still in the living room, still sobbing. The sound rakes across my nerves. I know I'm not finished. There's a final confrontation we must have. A final blow. I shut off the bathroom light and return. She's back on the couch, wiping her cheeks with trembling fingers. I take a seat again, picking up my wine, swirling it in the glass. "I'm sorry to do this," I say softly, "but you brought it on yourself." She lifts her gaze, eyes puffy, face streaked with tears. "I know," she breathes. "I know. I'll do anything to fix this. Please." She tries to reach for my hand, but I pull away, the memory of his hand on her body swirling in my mind. "Don't," I say quietly. "Don't touch me." Her bottom lip trembles. Did you love him?" I interrupt, my voice calm but savage. "Did you call him pet names? Did you let him do all the things we used to do?" She breaks into fresh sobs. No, it wasn't like that. It was excitement, that's all. I felt important again, alive. I nod slowly, as if analyzing her words. "Alive," I repeat, tasting the bitterness of it. Then I fix my gaze on her. "Tell me about him. This Jim. Does he matter to you now?" She hesitates, choking on her tears. I told him it was over. He wanted more, but I ended it. I swear. Somehow, hearing that doesn't bring me relief. It stokes a darker feeling. The notion that he would have happily kept seeing her. The fact that she only ended it because something changed, or maybe because she sensed she couldn't hide it any longer. A slow, simmering anger surges in me, but outwardly I remain composed. "That's interesting," I say, swirling my wine again. "When I found that note about the new helper on the kitchen calendar, you never once mentioned him by name. Now you say it was excitement. That's all." I pause. "Were you excited while I was away helping our son?" She hangs her head, tears dripping onto her lap. "Dan, please, stop." A tense hush descends. I can feel my pulse in my temples, each beat a steady drum. Then, in a voice so low it's almost a growl, I say, "Tell me what happened while I was gone." Her shoulders quake, and she wipes her nose. She opens her mouth, but no words come out. She tries again. He came over Saturday. She trails off, sobbing. "I'm sorry." Silence. The pain of her admission drills into me. An image flickers in my mind. Her tangled in sheets with him, gasping, whispering, forgetting I even existed. My grip on the glass tightens. I almost expect it to shatter in my hand. But I manage to loosen my fingers at the last moment. I stand up, crossing to the window, where I pull aside the curtain and stare at the blackness outside. The reflection of the living room is superimposed on the glass. She's behind me, curled up, tears turning her face blotchy. My voice emerges as a dry rasp, calm yet lethal. "Thank you for your honesty," I say. Now I don't need to open the envelope. I know what it will say. She tries to stand, but her legs seem shaky, so she half rises. "Dan, if you give me a chance, I can." "You can what?" "Erase the last month. Erase every time you touched him, kissed him, moaned his name." I turn, and for the first time, my voice cracks in raw anguish. "Stop lying to me. I'm done with illusions." She sobs, pressing her hands to her mouth. "I'm not lying anymore. I swear. It's over with him. I just want you back. I love you." Those words should break me or bring me to my knees, but they feel hollow like echoes in a canyon. "You love me," I echo. "Do you even know what that means?" She collapses back on the couch, tears ravaging her voice. There's a thick pressure in my chest. I feel my voice about to break, but I push through. "Stand up," I say quietly. She complies, trembling from head to toe. I reach for her hand, then gently place it on my shoulder, as if to dance. She's confused, but she lets me lead. The music that was playing earlier is still on softly, some old tune she likes. I guide her in a slow sway, the living room lights flickering. She keeps crying, breath hitching, tears sliding down her cheeks. I'm almost numb. I rest my cheek near hers, but I don't close my eyes. I stare over her shoulder, focusing on the blank wall. This is the night I planned. The perfect romantic setting. Her favorite meal, candles, music. But now, it's a funeral march for our marriage. She clings to me, her tears wetting my shirt. Her sobbing sounds raw, broken. My heart is pounding. My mind is strangely detached. The contradictory swirl of anger, hurt, longing, and emptiness is almost too big to hold. After a moment, I stop. I gently pull her arms away from me. She stands, disoriented. I step back. "You asked me for a chance," I say, voice steady. "Let me ask you something. If I hadn't come home early Monday, if I hadn't sniffed out this new helper lie, would you have told me? Or would you have gone on?" She presses her lips together, tears glistening. I don't know. I feel a bitter laugh building in my throat. "Yeah, that's what I thought." My gaze flicks to the flickering candles, the wine glasses, this entire stage set for our final act. "All right. Sit down. We're not done." She lowers herself onto the couch. I sink back into the armchair. My voice is calm, but it's the calm of a graveyard at midnight. "What do you think happens next?" She sniffs, tries to compose herself. I'll do whatever it takes to make it up to you. Therapy, counseling. I'll quit my job if you want. I won't go out alone anymore. I know I messed up, but I love you, Dan. Please, I can't lose you." Every sentence she utters feels like a plea for her own survival. In that moment, I realize something. She's terrified. Terrified not just of losing me, but of losing her security, her sense of who she is. The revelation twists in my gut. I'm not sure if I find it satisfying or sickening. Maybe both. "You already lost me," I say quietly. "You lost me the moment you let him into our bed." She bursts into tears again, her entire body shaking. I just watch. My eyes are dry, my mouth set. The silence after her sobs fade is excruciating. Then I speak in a voice that barely registers emotion. "I'm not God," I say. "I can't erase what's been done. But you acted like I could fix everything, or maybe like I wouldn't notice, like I'd just forgive and move on. You gave me the power of a deity in your mind, because you wanted to have your fling and keep your marriage too. You wanted me to be all-knowing and all-forgiving, to love you no matter what. But guess what? My power, if I have any, is the power to leave you behind." She tries to reach for me, a strangled wail escaping her lips. But I stand and move out of her grasp. "Don't," I whisper. "You made your choice. Now you have to live with the consequences." She's crying harder than I've ever seen, tears soaking her shirt. She chokes out apologies, begs, tries to stand. I walk to the front door, open it, and stare into the night. The air is cool against my face. I step out onto the porch. The adrenaline is coursing through my veins, but my mind is empty. Quiet. I hear her sobbing behind me, calling my name. I lean against the porch railing, head tilted back, gazing up at the sky. The stars are there, indifferent, shining as if nothing on earth has changed. After a minute, I hear her footsteps. She's followed me, standing in the doorway. "Dan," she pleads, voice hoarse. "Please, come inside." I say nothing at first. Slowly, I turn to face her. "Inside," I echo. "Inside that house we built, the one you let him invade." "Why?" She trembles in the doorway. It's cold out. Let's just talk. I step forward. She seems to shrink back, as if afraid I might strike her. I won't. I've never hit her, never even considered it. The idea repulses me. But there's something about the intensity in my eyes that makes her recoil. I look past her, into the living room. The candles are burning low now, half melted. The entire scene feels surreal, like stepping into a stage set for a tragedy. We go back inside, and I close the door behind us. My voice is harassed. I'll sleep in the guest room, I say. Or maybe I won't sleep here at all. I don't know yet. She stands there, tears still clinging to her eyelashes. She wants to speak, but I hold up a hand. Don't. Not tonight. She nods, swallowing hard. But I said not tonight. My tone is final, unyielding. With that, I walk to the hallway again. I flick off the living room lights. She stands in darkness. I can hear her shaky breathing, quiet sobs as she tries to contain them. My steps echo down the corridor. I reach what used to be our shared bedroom, the bed that once felt like the safest place on earth. The covers are made, corners tucked in, everything neat. Yet I can't shake the image of him lying there with her. I see it so vividly that my stomach churns. I back out of the room, shutting the door. Instead, I shuffle to the guest room. Rarely used, except when our son visits. I close that door behind me, hearing the faint sound of her weeping. The bed is stiff, the sheets cold. I lie down on my back, stare at the ceiling, and wonder how I got here. My father used to say that heartbreak was the price men paid for trusting too deeply. Maybe I never truly believed him until now. I can't cry. My eyes remain dry. It's the strangest thing. My chest aches, but tears don't come. Instead, I feel hollow, the hollowness of a tomb. The night drags on. Sleep won't come. Sometime past midnight, I hear her shuffle to our bedroom. The door creaks open, then closes. Silence again. Then, after an interminable while, I drift into a shallow doze, haunted by half-formed dreams of her lying in someone else's arms. Morning brings no solace. I wake early, the ghostly light of dawn creeping through the blinds. My head aches, my mouth tastes sour. In the kitchen, I find a pot of coffee she's made, half-heartedly. She's not there, but I sense her presence. She's waiting somewhere, listening for my footsteps. I pour myself a mug, take a sip. Bitter. I set it down, letting it cool, unsure I can stomach it. Eventually, I hear her approach. Good morning, she tries, voice tentative, eyes red-rimmed. I don't respond immediately. Finally, I say, it's morning. She flinches at the coldness in my tone, looks down at her feet. I made coffee. I see that. Another thick silence. She clears her throat. Dan, don't, I murmur. Not yet. She nods, swallowing back tears. I understand. Do you? I wonder. Do you understand the damage you've done? The bitterness floods me, but I tamp it down, storing it behind a blank expression. I stand at the counter, sipping coffee, listening to the distant hum of the refrigerator. She hovers near the table, arms folded protectively. I can feel her stare on my back. After a moment, I turn and look directly at her. I'm going out for a while. Her eyes widen. Where? I give a slight shrug. Anywhere that isn't here. She bites her lip, tears threatening again. I see the tremor in her shoulders, but I can't comfort her. My heart is cold. I walk past her. She doesn't try to stop me. Outside, the morning air is brisk, the sun just peeking over the rooftops. I climb into my truck and start the engine, letting it rumble. I drive aimlessly through the neighborhood, mind adrift. Houses pass by, each with its own quiet secrets. I wonder how many of them harbor the same betrayal. Eventually, I find myself parked at a small diner we used to frequent. I slip inside, order a black coffee, and stare at the peeling laminate tabletop. An older man sits at the counter, flipping through a newspaper, A waitress with tired eyes refills my cup. Nobody asks questions. I realize I'm grateful for that. My mind is a storm, and I can't form small talk even if I wanted to. Somewhere between my second and third refill, I think of our son. He's not a child, but he's still young enough that I want to protect him from this madness. How do I tell them? Should I tell him? The idea of tarnishing his view of his mother makes my chest tighten. Yet what choice do I have if she and I separate? The future looms like a dark void. By midday, I find myself back in the truck, drifting toward the hardware store. I wander the aisles, looking for nothing in particular. I recall how I used to love buying supplies for our next home project. That quiet joy is gone. My phone buzzes a few times. Probably her. I don't check. I can't bring myself to read her messages. At last, I return home. She's sitting on the couch, phone clutched in her hands. She stands the moment I enter, eyes full of fear. "Where were you?" she asks softly. I shrug, dropping my keys on the table. Around. Her gaze shifts, noticing I didn't bring back anything. No bag, no new items. She stammers, You ate lunch." I had coffee. She tries to say more, but her voice falters. We stand there, an awkward standoff. My mind plays over the question of next steps. I can't keep drifting. I can't keep letting her cry while I remain silent. Something must break. "Pack a bag," I say suddenly. She blinks, stunned. "What?" "Pack a bag," I repeat, each word heavy. "I'm leaving for a few days. I want you out of this house by the time I come back." Her lip quivers. "Where will I go?" "That's not my concern right now." She starts to sob, but I cut her off with a raised hand. "I'm serious. I need space. I need time to think." "You do too." She tries to speak, can't. Then she simply nods, tears sliding down her face again. I feel a flicker of something, guilt, pity, anger all tangled, but I can't let it show. I stride to the bedroom, gather some clothes and toiletries into a duffel bag. My motions are mechanical. Meanwhile, she stands in the hallway, trembling like a leaf in a storm. Before I leave, I pause near the front door. I glance back at her. She's clinging to the wall for support, tears streaking her cheeks. For a moment, I consider saying something reassuring. But there's nothing left to say that won't sound hollow. I step out, shutting the door behind me. The midday sun glares at me. I climb into my truck again, start it up, and drive. I don't know where I'm going. Maybe a motel on the outskirts. Maybe I'll drop in on a friend. The point is to not be near her, not to be haunted by the bed we shared or the ghosts of laughter in our living room. Eventually, I find a small roadside motel, its neon sign flickering. The room is cheap, smells faintly of disinfectant, but at least it's private. I drop my duffel, lock the door, and sink onto the bed. The silence here is different, foreign, but it's a relief from the suffocating emptiness of home. I stare at the water-stained ceiling, feeling the weight of betrayal, the specter of that man who touched her. My fists clench involuntarily. I think of how easy it would be to track him down, confront him, maybe ruin him. But would that fix anything? Days pass in a haze. I go out for cheap meals, nursing black coffee at diners, sometimes a sandwich. At night, I sit in the motel room, lights off, just me and my thoughts. Anger, betrayal, heartbreak. They swirl endlessly. I ignore my phone for the most part. She texts me, sometimes calls. I read a few messages. "Please, Dan, can we talk? I've got nowhere else to go. I'm sorry." I don't reply. I can't remain in limbo forever. On the third day, I gather my things and check out, driving back to see if she actually left as I demanded. My mind rages with conflicting desires. Do I want her gone, or do I want her there so I can shout at her again? I don't know. The only certainty is that I'm not the same man who left on Friday for our son's place. I pull into the driveway. The house looks the same from the outside. innocently suburban. I steel myself, unlock the door, step inside. It's quiet. The living room is tidy, no sign of her. I check the bedroom. Empty. Then I notice a note on the kitchen table. I left because you told me to. I'm sorry. Call me if you ever want to talk. That's it. Short, pitiful. No tears on the paper, no perfume, just her scrawled handwriting. My chest feels both heavy and hollow as I read it. Part of me wants to tear it up. Part of me wants to burn it alongside that photograph. Instead, I just set it aside. I glance around, noticing a few missing items, her clothes, her toiletries. The bed is stripped. She must have packed quickly, not sure how long she'd be gone. The day drifts into evening. I aimlessly clean the house, scrubbing surfaces that probably don't need it. I want to remove every trace of her, but she's in the walls, the floors, the air. Everything reminds me of her. That's when I decide to do something final, something that might fill this void with action. I grab my phone, scroll to the message from the DNA lab. I open it at last, scanning the email. As predicted, it confirms the presence of another man's DNA on the pillowcase. The blood roars in my ears. I throw the phone on the couch, feeling sick. Now, it's time for the end. I recall the vow I made to have a final confrontation, a final scene. But she's gone, presumably staying in some hotel, or maybe with a friend. God forbid, with him. The idea makes my fists tighten. I need to face her again, but on my terms. So I text her, come back tomorrow evening. 7 p.m. We'll talk. She replies almost immediately. Okay. I'll be there. I turn off my phone, determined to do this once and for all. The following day passes in a crawl. I prepare dinner again, her favorite, ironically, just to set the stage. The same candles, the same plates, the same routine. But my mind is clear. The time comes. 7 p.m. She arrives, stepping inside with quiet hesitation. She looks worn, eyes swollen. She holds a small overnight bag in one hand, probably hoping to stay. I offer no greeting. I motion for her to sit at the table. She does, swallowing nervously. The tension is palpable, a thickness in the air. I serve the food without a word. We begin to eat in strained silence. She picks at her fork, tears threatening to surface again. When she finally speaks, her voice is raw. Thank you for letting me come. I say nothing, forcing a few bites of food that taste like cardboard. After a minute, she sets her fork down. Dan, I still love you. I've always loved you. I know what I did was unforgivable, but I'm asking you to let me try to fix this. I look at her with a calm expression. My voice is empty. Fix what exactly? The fact that you slept with him. The fact that you lied. Or the fact that you only stopped once I found out. She flinches, tears slipping down her cheeks. All of it, she says brokenly. I push my plate away. I don't think you can fix it. My voice is quiet. I'm not sure I want you to. She sobs, reaching across the table, but I withdraw my hand before she can touch it. You can hate me, she pleads. You can punish me, but please, don't leave me. I rise from my chair, gazing down at her. Her face is streaked with tears. I recall the line I practiced in my head, how to confront her with the knowledge that I'm not the omnipotent, forgiving figure she hoped for. So I do it. I let the words roll off my tongue in that cold, final tone. You know I'm not God, I say. But you acted like I was, like I had the power to overlook anything. You made me appear omnipotent in your mind, as though my love could erase your betrayal. I pause, letting the weight of that sink in. Then I gently brush her hand aside. But I'm just a man. And you broke me. Her eyes widen, tears pooling anew. She inhales a shaky breath. I understand, she whispers. I study her. The tears, the regret, the anguish. And something in me feels vacant, as if her "I understand" is meaningless. Maybe a week ago, a month ago, I would have forgiven. Maybe I would have taken partial blame. But not now. Not after I've stared into this abyss. I step back, crossing my arms. She stands, tries to come close, her hand trembling as it reaches for my shoulder. I move it away gently. No, I whisper. She staggers, pressing her lips together. I'll do anything, she says, voice cracking. I just stare at her, feeling that frigid calm descend again. I place the envelope from the lab on the table, finally opened. This is the truth, I say, tapping it. Undeniable proof. But it doesn't matter, because I already knew. She tries to speak, fails. A broken sob escapes her throat. I turn off the music, blow out the candles. One by one, the small flames vanish, leaving only the overhead light. We stand in that stark brightness. My voice feels distant, as if it's coming from someone else. You can stay here tonight. I manage. But I'll be sleeping in the guest room. In the morning, I'd like you to pack the rest of your things. There's no easy fix for what you did. And I'm not sure I care to find one. She wraps her arms around herself, trembling. Dan, she says again, voice shredded. I'm sorry. I look at her, a woman I've loved for over 2 decades, a woman I once believed would never betray me. The silence extends. Then I say, I know. She bows her head, tears falling silently to the floor. I see her shoulders quake. The moment stretches. Finally, I turn and walk away, leaving her alone at the table. My footsteps echo through the hallway. I don't look back. The finality feels like a lead weight in my chest, but it also feels like release. I ascend the stairs, each step heavier than the last, until I'm in the guest room again. I close the door. In the quiet darkness, I press my forehead against the wall, letting the tension drain from my body. I focus on my breathing, slow and methodical. She's sobbing downstairs, but I'm done playing the role of comforter. I might be done with everything. I don't know who I am anymore. A man who tries to salvage a broken marriage, or a man who cuts ties and starts over. Either way, the man I was is gone. The next morning, I walk downstairs to find her sitting on the couch, fully dressed, a small suitcase at her feet. She looks at me, eyes swollen from crying all night. She doesn't speak. I nod, crossing to the kitchen, making coffee. She stands slowly, hand pressed to her temple, as if she's dizzy. Then she steps toward me. I'll go, she murmurs. I know you need space. My face is expressionless. Yes, for now. She opens her mouth to say more, but no words emerge. Eventually, she picks up her suitcase. She walks to the door, glances back once, tears in her eyes, then steps outside. The door closes behind her, and I hear the quiet click of the latch. She's gone again. I sip the coffee, black and bitter. The house is eerily silent, like a museum after closing hours. I walk from room to room, noticing how the emptiness is even more pronounced without her presence. It's exactly what I asked for, yet it leaves me numb. My voice echoes off the walls as I mutter, "What now?" I glance at our wedding picture on the wall. I pull it down, set it face down on a shelf. I pick up the remains of the burned photo from the coffee table, those blackened scraps that once showed our smiles. My mind replays the last few days. The shock, the confrontation, the confessions, the sobs. Now, the house stands witness to the aftermath. I think of revenge, of ways to hurt the man who invaded my life. But does that solve anything? Probably not. The bigger betrayal is hers. She made the choice. She brought him in. My anger at him pales beside what I feel toward her. Yet I can't muster the energy to ruin him. Let him live with his own guilt. Let him wonder what I might do. That's punishment enough. I drift back to the table and pick up the lab envelope. I read through the lines again. My mind fixates on the definitive statements about DNA comparison, probabilities. It's cold, scientific. Something about that finality stings. I lay it aside, exhaling shakily. This is my life now. A man alone in a house full of memories, sifting through the rubble of a broken marriage. I press my palms against the kitchen counter, leaning forward, letting my head hang. That's when my voice breaks the silence. I speak into the empty room, in a tone so low I barely recognize it. I'm not God. I whisper, repeating the phrase. I'm just a man who can't forgive. The echo of my words returns no comfort. My mind conjures her sobs, her pleas, the heartbreak in her eyes. A part of me wants to feel pity, to cradle her head in my arms and tell her it will be all right. But that part is overshadowed by the memory of her betrayal. I can't shake the image. Her arms around another man, the taste of his sweat on her lips. My soul winces. Time drags. I spend the rest of the day in silence, pacing between the living room and the porch, occasionally glancing at my phone. No messages from her. Maybe she got the hint. Maybe she's giving me the space I demanded. Maybe she's with him. The thought stabs me, but I let it remain. This is my new reality. A man who knows he's no longer needed, no longer the center of his wife's universe. Night falls. I end up in the guest room again, lying awake, eyes on the ceiling. The house moans and settles, as if exhausted by the tension that's poured through it. Thoughts swirl. Should I call a lawyer? Should I demand a divorce? Or is there a chance we can fix this with counseling? The questions weigh me down. I think of our son, how I might explain this to him. My heart constricts. I can't imagine his face when he hears. 2 nights, then 3, pass in much the same way. She remains gone. I go through the motions. Work, dinner alone, a half-hearted beer in front of the TV, though I barely focus on the flickering images. All I see in my mind's eye is her sobbing on the living room floor, begging for forgiveness I can't give. On the 4th day, she calls. I stare at my phone for a while before answering. My voice is a rasp. "Hello, Dan," she says softly. How are you?" I bark a harsh laugh, devoid of humor. "How do you think I am?" A pause. "I'm sorry. That was a stupid question." Another pause. "I'm staying at a friend's house. I just wanted to make sure you're all right." I rub my temple, feel the sting of a building headache. "I'm alive, if that's what you mean." She inhales shakily. I just want to talk. Maybe in person. Could we meet somewhere neutral? Maybe a coffee shop." I picture her sitting across from me in a public space, tears forming, other patrons watching. The idea makes me cringe. "No," I say. "Not right now." She falters. "Dan, please. I need you to hear me out. I heard plenty." She sucks in a breath, voice trembling with desperation. "I'm sorry. I know you did. But I can't lose you like this. Not without trying everything I can." I close my eyes, leaning back against the couch. The silence crackles. Finally, I exhale. "I'll think about it. Let me call you back." Then I hang up. I can't handle more. My mind is a swirling mess of anger and a strange pity for her. I'm not used to being so cruel, but I have no softness left to give. I toss the phone aside, lean my head back, and stare at the ceiling fan as it spins. Eventually, I drift into a fitful sleep. Nightmares plague me. Images of her body entwined with a shadowy figure. I wake in a cold sweat, heart pounding. I realize I can't go on like this, in limbo. I need a direction, a resolution, even if it's messy. I decide to call her the next morning, invite her to meet me here, in our own house. No public eyes, no coffee shop niceties. If this is going to end, it'll end where it started. Morning arrives. I make the call. She picks up on the second ring, voice full of hope. "Dan, come by tonight," I say, cutting through her greeting. 7 o'clock again. "All right," she breathes. "Thank you." I end the call and realize my palms are sweating. My heart races as I think about confronting her once more, about the final step. The day passes in a restless haze. By early evening, I'm back in that living room, the same place that has witnessed so many confessions and tears. I open the blinds, letting in the last of the daylight. I don't bother with candles or dinner this time. No illusions. She arrives punctually, stepping inside with a timid knock. Her face is drawn, her eyes puffy. "Hi," she says gently. I nod. We sit across from each other, her on the couch, me in the armchair. It's like some twisted therapy session. "Talk," I say quietly. She clasps her hands. I want to do whatever it takes to fix this. If it means going to counseling, I'm in. If it means living apart for a while, I'll do that. But please, Dan, don't just throw away what we have. We had a life together, a son, years of memories. I watch her, my face impassive. "Tell me something," I say. "If I'd come home a day later, would you have done it again?" Tears slip down her cheeks. I don't know. Maybe. But I was already feeling guilty. I was planning to end it. I swear. I scoff under my breath. "You realize how that sounds?" She nods miserably. "Yes. I know. It doesn't excuse anything." Silence. My chest feels tight, but I keep my voice steady. "So you want a chance to make it right. But what if I don't know how to be that man anymore? The man who forgives." She shivers, tears dripping onto her blouse. "Then show me how to help you, to earn your forgiveness." I stare at the floor, then stand. She tenses, eyes tracking my every move. I approach her slowly, kneel so our eyes are level. The closeness is jarring. I can smell the faint perfume she still wears. My voice emerges as a near whisper. "You broke me, Becky. You took everything I believed about us, and you shattered it. I don't know who I am now." She sobs, tries to touch my face, but I gently push her hand away. "No," I repeat. "Don't." She closes her eyes, tears streaking her cheeks. "I'm sorry." I rise, stepping back, arms folded. The dryness in my throat returns, but I force the words out. "I need time. Maybe counseling, maybe separation. I don't know yet. If you want to try, then yes, we can try. But don't expect me to trust you anytime soon." She looks up with eyes filled with a flicker of hope. "I'll do anything," she whispers. "Whatever it takes." My chest constricts, my anger warring with a kernel of pity. "Fine. Then we'll do counseling," I say, voice taut. "We'll see if there's anything left worth saving." She nods vigorously, tears still slipping. "Thank you. Thank you." I turn away, staring at the half-burned photograph on the coffee table. My memory flickers to the moment I lit that flame, how I watched her image burn. That was the moment I knew I'd crossed into a place of no return. Yet here I am, leaving a door cracked open for some kind of future. Maybe it's weakness, or maybe it's the last vestige of hope. I can't say which. I break the silence, my tone harsh. "Don't misunderstand. We are nowhere near okay." She swallows. "I know." I walk to the fireplace, flick the switch that ignites the gas flame. The logs catch in a gentle roar. I stand there, facing the fire, my back to her. "If I ever see him, if he tries to contact you, I don't know what I'll do." She says nothing for a beat, then speaks in a shaky murmur. "He won't. It's done." I close my eyes, letting the heat from the flames warm my face. "Go upstairs," I say. "Take the guest room. I'm not ready for you to sleep in our bed. I don't know when I'll be ready." She nods, though I sense her heartbreak. She walks past me, footsteps soft on the stairs. I remain by the fire, gazing into its light. I can hear the faint creak of the guest room door, the rustle as she settles in. The house is quiet again, except for the crackle of flames. And so this is my new existence. She's here, but not really. We're together, but shattered. I watch the fire dance, feeling its heat on my skin. Part of me wonders if we'll ever find a path to forgiveness, or if we're just prolonging the inevitable end. My thoughts circle back to that line. She said, "I understand." But does she truly? Does she realize how deep this wound goes? How I've lost my sense of self? I remember my father's words about heartbreak and how men carry it in silence. Now, in the hush of this house, I feel the full weight of those words. I can almost hear my father's voice telling me to be strong, to hold my head high. But I'm not sure I can. I stand here, torn between a primal urge to cut her out of my life forever and a desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, something of our marriage can be salvaged. The flames cast dancing shadows on the walls, flickering shapes that seem to mirror the chaos inside me. My voice comes out in a near-silent whisper as I echo the truth. I'm not God. I repeat, and I sure as hell don't feel like a husband anymore. The last of the firelight illuminates the ghost of our shared memories, each flicker a question with no easy answer. I watch until the flames die down, leaving only embers that glow faintly in the darkness. A hush falls over the house, broken only by my breath. Slowly, I turn and walk into the corridor, heading for the room that used to be ours. I open the door, stare at the bed. Then, with a final exhale, I pull it shut again. I can't sleep there. Not yet. I retreat to the couch, lying down in the flickering gloom. My mind is a battlefield of doubts and regrets, but exhaustion finally weighs me down. As I drift toward sleep, the final thought that shapes itself in my mind is this: I survived the worst blow. The rest is just aftermath. Maybe I can heal, or maybe I'll tear myself apart trying. But at least I know one thing. She can't hide behind any illusions anymore. Neither can I behind my closed eyelids. I see the ember glow fading, and I slip into a restless darkness. A moment of quiet, a suspended breath before the next storm of questions. Somewhere upstairs, she's crying into a pillow, wrestling with her own choices. Down here, I'm a man undone by betrayal, uncertain if I can ever piece myself back together. The night feels endless, but I cling to the solitary comfort that this moment, this silence, is mine. I own it, and no one can take that away. Outside, the wind stirs. Inside, a final hush descends. There's nothing left to say, nothing but the echo of my own breathing in the dark, as I wait for sleep or something like it to claim me. And in that quiet darkness, I let the tears finally come. One or two, no more. Because I'm not God, and I can't pretend to be omnipotent anymore. The house stands empty of illusions, and I close my eyes on that raw truth. A single breath, then another, until the silence swallows me whole.